I'm 1/3 of the way into a month-long solo trip between Guatemala and Belize. I'm there for the adventure, the sights, and the bragging rights. This is my 4th developing country. I'm a rough and tumble backpacker in my own mind, maybe more of a flashpacker. I'm in Lanquin, Guatemala, for the beautiful Samuk Champay pools, and if I'm brave enough, some cave exploration. My hostel is up on a hillside overlooking the lush forest. The shower has no screen or glass to the outside. It feels like taking a shower outdoors. It's beautiful, exhilarating, and a little vulnerable. About a minute in, I notice that I'm showering with a giant tarantula huddled in the corner. I've learned to make my peace with spiders, cockroaches, and other insects. I stare directly at him and telepathically say, "I'm not going to hurt you, and you're not going to jump at me, okay?" His stillness indicates that we have an understanding. I continue my shower, fully aware of his presence. As I pull back the shower curtain to get out, I notice a black spider the size of a large strawberry is nestled in the folds. Jesus! I thought it was just me and giant tarantula. I gingerly tiptoe out of the shower. Upstairs, my bed is in a giant loft with 8 other beds. It's a full house. Directly to my right are 2 German girls covered in bug bites. One of the girls' bites on her leg had a ring of red around it. It looks pretty bad. I can't resist giving unsolicited advice. You really should monitor its size by drawing around it with a marker. Not even 20 minutes later, the broy Australian dude on the bunk to my left makes this loud tss noise. He appears to be randomly whacking the ground with his shoe. Waiting for the ruckus to be over, I nervously ask, "What the hell just happened?" He points to a 1.5-inch long black scorpion on the ground. It's dead. The scorpion had stung him. It very clearly had it coming. "It's no big deal," he states. "It's nothing more than a bee sting." Ever the know-it-all, I interject, "Well, you never know what it is and isn't poisonous around here. You should really ask the staff." That night, as I'm getting ready for bed, I decide that I will sleep with my bedding tucked in at all sides and cover my head in my breathable green pashmina scarf. I've already started sending silent telepathic vibes, willing all critters to please leave me alone. I then notice on my left butt cheek, really high up and close to the crack, I have some kind of sore bump. It feels squishy like a blister. I can't see it, but I can feel it. I keep trying to inconspicuously run my fingers over the sore spot to identify what it is. In the morning, the bump on my ass feels bigger, sorer, and kind of itchy. After all the bug bites I'd seen, I assume I have an infected spider bite. I wasn't covered in bites like the German girls, just this dime-sized bump. With no plans for the day, I had time to head to the doctor in town. Armed with my Spanish dictionary and a sore on my ass, I followed the directions I was given to the office. In a building that resembles an air hangar, there are 2 men. They speak 0 English. Despite having taken 5 days of private Spanish lessons in Lake Atitlan the week before, I barely speak Spanish. Whenever I try to, I have this pained look on my face, like a mix of confusion, hesitation, and shame. I inform them that I need help for my culo. One of the men takes me to a room and stands there looking at me. I nervously indicate that I'm going to be showing him something on my backside. I turn around and drop trowel, pointing to the bumpy sore spot. The doctor, if that's even who this man is, looks at my affliction and says nothing. He then writes me a prescription for hydrocortisone cream. I'm fairly certain this means he doesn't know what's going on back there. Like Mexico, there are several pharmacias in this small town. I dutifully head to the first pharmacia with prescription in hand and enter the tidy shop. It's about the size of the ladies' restroom here at the whistle stop. I hand the prescription to the child behind the counter, who looks confused. The child then hands it to the adult in the shop. I'm party to the same look of confusion. He shakes his head, "No, yo no tengo este." Well, certainly the pharmacia across the way will have it. The woman behind that counter looks at the prescription and shakes her head. At this point, I'm starting to get worried. What's wrong with my ass? And why can't I find any damned hydrocortisone cream in this godforsaken town? I had a cell phone with me for emergencies and decided that this qualified. So I called Aldo at $2 a minute. Aldo's an ex from when I was 23. Because his mother's from Ecuador, he speaks fluent Spanish. Aldo thinks this is a social call, even though he knows I'm in Guatemala. Hi, how are you? How's the trip? Aldo loves the sound of his own voice. I immediately interject, I need your help. Can you speak to the pharmacist for me? He keeps going. Aldo, I have this thing on my ass and I can't find the cream the doctor prescribed me. Aldo laughs. It's probably some tropical insect buried in your ass cheek. Asshole, don't say that to me. Are you gonna help me or not? He agrees. Hopeful, I head back into the shop and hand the phone to the clerk waiting for the good news. The clerk hands the phone back and Aldo says, they don't have this and they don't know what it is. Okay, thanks, bye. I hang up abruptly to save myself $1. I'm getting pretty irritated at this point. It's fucking hydrocortisone cream. I mean, how can they not have the most basic of all creams? I end up purchasing a small jar of antibiotic cream. I figure I'm in Lanquin for another day and it's better than nothing. Next stop is the stop to the city of Flores, the gateway to the ancient Mayan city of Tikal. Over the next 4 days, I apply the cream to the itchy mystery bump. I'm happy because it feels less painful, but it's definitely not shrinking. In fact, it feels like there are more bumps clustered around the original. I'm in the jungle learning shit about history, Mayans, animals, and whatnot. I see monkeys. I love monkeys. I see tarantulas, toucans, agouti, and kutimundi. My itchy bump, now the size of a nickel, is always present, but not exactly at the top of my consciousness. After Tikal, I make my way to Key Calker and Belize. I've heard it's beautiful and chill. I'm going to learn to scuba dive. My trusty Lonely Planet guidebook informs me there's a free doctor on the island. So day 1, I head to the doctor and there's no one in. The sore on my ass seems to have stabilized between the size of a quarter or a $50. I still haven't seen the damn thing, and I swear it feels more bumpy and blistery, like skin that's been sitting in water. Day 2 comes and the doctor is there. The great thing about Belize, especially after 3 weeks in Guatemala, is that it's an English-speaking country. That and its natural beauty. After waiting for about 45 minutes, the doctor calls me back into her office and I tell her my tale of woe. She asks to see the cheek in question. She looks at the sore for about 15 seconds and in her accented voice says, I know what this is. It isn't serious, but you need to take care of it right away. I actually don't know what this is called in English, but we see it all the time in Cuba. She writes me a prescription for pills that I conveniently get filled downstairs. The doctor has instructed me to take the pills orally and to crush one of them up and put the powder into my antibiotic cream and continue to apply it. The pill breaks into chunks, not powder, and I'm now using this kind of like chunky antibiotic cream on the sight unseen sore. Curious med student that I am, I cruise down to the internet cafe, pay the $1, and get online. I search the name of the medication to see what it treats. A few clicks in, and I discover the cluster of bumps is a hookworm. This is the first image that I see. I decided right then that I didn't need to know anything else. This was more than enough information for me. Still, you can't forget an image like that. The hookworm had been there for at least 10 days, burrowing, growing, living out his hopes and dreams. On my ass. And that asshole Aldo, he was right. I did have a tropical insect buried in my ass cheek. The problem was, this uninvited travel companion had bought real estate that wasn't for sale. This was a relationship that was destined to be short-lived. The meds worked as an eviction, a brutal, body-disintegrating eviction for the hookworm. Within a day, the blistery bumps began to open up. The worm was disintegrating and being expressed out through my skin. I now had an open, I know. I now had an open wound larger than a quarter. It was no longer the burrowy hidey hole of the hookworm. The next day, my curiosity got the better of me. I put aside my distaste for the whole situation and decided to do more research on this hookworm. Did you know there are 2 types of hookworm? There's one that can enter your body through your feet, travel up to your lungs, and then express out into your small intestine to live out their joyful, parasitic, 2-year-long lives out. And then there's a skin-burrowing type that I got, cutaneous larva migrans. They're known for creating a papule at the site of entry and leaving a winding, thread-like, subcutaneous trail of reddish-brown inflammation. Both types come from hookworm eggs in dog and cat feces, often found in sand. I hadn't been in any sand. The skin-burrowing kind attach where the skin contacts the eggs. How this part of my ass had contacted hookworm eggs was a mystery to me. Over the next week in Belize, I spend most of my time reading, scuba diving, riding my bike around, and flirting with the local men. It's hot in April, and the combination of being in the water and sweating while riding my bike meant the open wound on my ass really wasn't healing. I had this sore spot as a constant reminder of who had been living there. It wasn't until after I'd been home for a few days and was sifting through my photos that I figured out exactly how I'd picked up my travel companion. There it was. The proof was in my photos. Me holding a cat on my bed in my cabana around Lake Atitlan. My Facebook post of the picture included the caption, "Missing my kitties, but luckily this little guy gave me love and probably fleas." I had let him in my room and pet him for a while. The cat's bare ass and my bare ass had to have touched the same spot on the bed.
That was VAMP first timer Amy Thornton.